Hi, it's Brian, your 3D engineer. And today we're going to talk about the fun that is conceptual design, focusing on when your concepts start from existing designs or models. Because sometimes you can create a new design from scratch, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel. So, where do concept ideas come from? I mean, other than that dream I had last night about a personal rocket booster backpack. If you're like most engineers, only some of your ideas truly start from scratch. So let's table the discussion on how you come up with those ideas for now. If you're like most people, many of your concepts begin either in part or in whole from existing designs. Existing designs, you say? Well, sometimes I'm lazy, and I steal my coworker Joe's model and start from there. Sorry, Joe. Well, of course, I'm not stealing Joe's ideas. Maybe Joe was working on his own project, created a bunch of different concepts, and this one didn't make the cut. A good idea, but it didn't meet all the goals for Joe's project. But my project has different goals, and Joe's discarded concept will work really well. I'll just make a few tweaks here, and I'm on my way. Thank you, Joe. And where I work, there are a lot of Joes and a few Janes, and they're all generating ideas. Some of these ideas are in the early stages, some are much further down the development path, some are on their way to becoming real products, and some are going to be left on the cutting room floor. But any of them could be a starting point for a design I'm working on. Maybe the way a coupling is done here, or the way a surface is done here. Wow, that one is really cool. And don't worry, I'm not just taking ideas from the pool, I'm contributing as well. Sometimes I even inspire myself. Like just last week, I dug up a design I was working on a few years ago. Let's say it's a radio. At the time, there were some pieces missing for it to really come together. And today, wow, technology has really advanced. Now everything I was envisioning exists, and it's much smaller, so it all fits together a lot better than it did back then. I'll just make some changes to make it a little more modern looking. There, well on its way to becoming a reality. And it's not just my old concepts that could occasionally use an update. I mean, we're always working on the newest version of our existing products as well. Sometimes I want the new version to look completely different. And sometimes I just want to tweak the design for a more modern look and incorporate some new technologies. And sometimes I only want to make an update to certain parts within the assembly. So even though the product is technically complete, it's still providing the base for my new concepting. So by now you're saying, okay, great, now I know how to steal ideas. Now how do I do less work? Well, here's a little secret between you and me. Management calls that first part leveraging and maximizing existing intellectual property. And that second part, increasing productivity and working more effectively. That's good news for your performance review. So, how do we work more effectively? The trick isn't just using existing designs to inspire your new concepts. That's not actually saving me anything but thinking time, if I've got to recreate that in my CAD system before I can start adding my own flair to it. The trick is not only finding the right model to start with, but also using that model as your starting point and easily making changes to it. But wait, remember last time when we talked about the challenge of making changes? Well, that comes into play here as well. There's that design intent again. We talked about the different places that existing models can come from, but those models can bring baggage with them in the form of design intent. I mean, especially if my new concept has a different set of goals and requirements than the model I'm starting with. That obsolete design intent will only get in the way. I want to be free with my ideas and free with my model making. Free to be amazing. I want to start with my existing model, do some pushing and pulling on surfaces here, add some free-form surface shapes here. And the great news is I can. I can make changes to my existing model and quickly create some cool new shapes without worrying about old design intent. Want more details? Go here to learn more. Now with all my extra time, I'm gonna finish work on the important ideas. Until next time.